Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel about embedded systems. So in today's video we're going to understand STM32 and its architecture. So we're going to understand STM32 microcontroller architecture in detail. So let us start the video, but before starting the video, if you're a new viewer to my channel, kindly subscribe my YouTube channel, click on bell icon and share this video to your friend. Let us start the video, STM32 microcontroller and its architecture. So guys, in the previous video I have already explained what are the different features of STM32 microcontroller. So if you have not watched that video, you please watch that. I'll update the link in the iCard. So now currently whatever you are seeing on the screen, this is our STM32 microcontroller, STM32 F411 RE or RC. So this is about this microcontroller we're going to understand. And if you observe here clearly, the first important point what you should know is this microcontroller. Okay, so this is a technical data sheet. It is, you can download it from any Google website, or else you can download it from the ST website. Okay, so this is a simplified block diagram of STM32 F411 microcontroller. So you can see here, this is your ARM Cortex-M4. The core engine of this microcontroller is ARM Cortex-M4, which is operating at 100 MHz speed, and there is a built-in FPU is available inside the ARM Cortex. So this is the first important thing you should know. So core engine is ARM Cortex, operating speed is 100 MHz. This is the first thing you should know. Second thing, along with this, we will have some additional features in ARM Cortex. One is a NVIC, stands for Nested Vector Interrupt Controller. Then we have JTAG and software single wire debugger. Then we have MPU, memory protection unit, and then ETM. These are all the things which are associated with a core ARM Cortex-M4 processor. And then, so if you see, we have three buses are there. You can see one is a D bus. D bus stands for data bus. So this is a data bus. Then I bus stands for instruction bus, and then S bus stands for system bus. There are three types of buses will be available: D bus, data bus, I bus, instruction bus, and S bus stands for system bus. So this ARM Cortex processor, whatever you are seeing here, this ARM Cortex processor is going to be connected to the system matrix. You can see AHB matrix, so which I'm highlighting now. So the processor is connected to this AHB matrix via these lines, data bus, instruction bus, and system bus. From this AHB matrix, all peripherals are connected. From this AHB matrix, all peripherals, whatever we have discussed in the previous video, all those like GPIO ports, ADC, DAC, I2C, UART, all those things are connected to the AHB bus matrix. Now we will explore that in detail. Now, to this AHB matrix bus, you can see this is my flash, or you can say this is my memory part. So this is my flash, which is a 512 kilobyte of flash and 128 kilobyte of SRAM we have. So this is a memory part, and this memory is connected to the AHB bus matrix. This is a second important thing, memory interfacing to your AHB bus matrix. Then USB, you can see here there is a USB. The USB is also connected to this AHB bus matrix. Okay, USB stands for, you know that already, Universal Serial Bus. And this is your power management block. So here you will be applying the power from the external power source, 1.7 to 3.6 volts. Okay, then and also if you see here, these are all different monitorings, like power on reset, and then brownout reset, and some like all those things, power down reset, power on reset, power down reset, and brownout reset. And this is a programmable voltage detection. These are all the voltage monitoring strategies, voltage monitoring circuits which are incorporated inside the microcontroller. Okay, then this block, whatever you are seeing, this is called your clock generation block. This block, whatever you're seeing. So you can generate clock from two different sources. One with a external RC oscillator and external crystal oscillator and internal RC oscillator. Okay, so you can generate the clock from two different sources, one either from external oscillator, crystal oscillator, or from internal RC oscillator. From this external RC oscillator or external crystal oscillator, it will be given to the PLL. You can see there is a PLL here. You can see here there is a PLL. PLL stands for phase lock loop. Is able to generate a new frequency from the external oscillator, and then we have internal oscillator as well here. So from this internal RC oscillator also we are able to generate the new clock. So ultimately from the clock source we have separate block here. You can say reset and clock control block. Reset and clock control block. It's also called as RCC block. From this RCC block we are going to generate different clocks for different peripherals. You can see here. We're able to generate a clock for different blocks. You can see this is a AHB block. So this is your AHB. This is your AHB1 block, and this is your AHB2, and then APB1 and APB2, then H clock. Like this, different clocks you're able to generate from the RCC block. RCC stands for reset and clock control. So this is all about the clock generation, and also you can see here, this is your RTC block. So in this RTC block, the clock for RTC is 32 kilohertz. The 32 kilohertz clock will be given to the RTC. So these are all related to system blocks, and when I explore slightly more here, so we are done with the flash, we are done with the SRAM, and also we are done with the USB. Now you can see here, this is a AHB line, or AHB stands for Advanced High Performance Bus. AHB stands for Advanced High Performance Bus, and this bus will be operating at 100 megahertz speed, at the speed of your processor. Now this bus is going to connect to the various peripherals. Now we will see here. So this AHB1 bus is connected to the DMA. There are two DMAs are there, DMA1 and DMA2. You can see this AHB is connected to DMA1 and DMA2, and then this AHB matrix or AHB bus. AHB1 bus is connected to all our GPIO. We have totally 5 plus 1. So there are 6 ports. They have given GPIO port A, port B, port C, port D, and port E, and port H. So all these are connected to AHB1 bus. Okay, so like that. So next point, if you observe here, so this AHB bus is also connected to the RTC, and also this AHB1 is also connected to CRC block. CRC stands for cyclic redundancy check. Okay, so that is one bus, AHB1 bus. Then we have two other buses are there. One is the AHB or APB1 and APB2. You can see here APB1 and APB2. These are all again buses. To this bus, the various peripherals are connected. If you observe here, the AHB or APB2, this part, APB2 or AHB2, so most it is running at, you can see here, APB2 is running at 100 megahertz. Okay, so this to this APB2 bus, various peripherals are connected. Now you can see one is your external interrupts. So this to this APB2, the external interrupts are connected, and SDIO stands for secure data input output, that is connected, and timers like timer 1, timer 9, timer 10, 11 are connected. Then USART is connected, USART 1, USART 6, then I2S 1, I2S 4, like that. Different peripherals are connected. Even temperature sensor and ADC is also connected to the APB2. Okay, so now if this is a one side, in another side, if you observe here, APB1, you can see this block. So this block APB1, and this APB1 is connected to the APB1 matrix or APB1 bus. In this APB1 bus, it is running at 50 megahertz. You can see here the speed they have highlighted here. This is running at 50 megahertz, and to this bus, which is connected with the WWDG, that stands for Window Watchdog Timer. Then we have I2C, we have I2C1, I2C2, and I2C3. All these three things are connected. We have SPI3, we have SPI2, then USART 2, then timers like timer 5, timer 2, 3, 4, 5 are also connected. Okay, so this is a simplified block diagram of your STM32 microcontroller. So with this, I just want to end my video here. So if you feel this video is an informative video, please click on like button, share this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.